Inside the Gates of Heaven, by Oden Hetrick. Chapter 19, The Throne of God and of the Lamb. Inside the jasper walls of the temple or most holy place is a courtyard garden. High above this enclosed garden, at the top of the beautiful walls, is the throne of God, characterized by a brilliant rainbow. This bright rainbow illumines the entire court with a perpetual profusion of prismatic hues. The space from the garden floor, to God's throne above, to the high walls round about is the seventh dimension. This hallowed habitation is the Holy of Holies of heaven, the very presence of the one true God who is the temple of heaven and the only light in celestial realms. Isaiah had a vision of God's throne, high and lifted up in his train, glorious light came down and filled the temple, Isaiah 6:1. No one enters this sacred abode without first receiving a desire to do so from the Spirit of God. They must be willing to suffer with Christ in this world. We are heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ, if we suffer with him that we may be also glorified together. Romans 8:17. The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. Romans 8:18. The call of the Spirit to enter this sacred abode comes to those who look beyond the things of this world, and who press with heart and soul toward the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. This is the testimony of Paul the Apostle, who visited this throne room of God and called it the third heaven. He said he learned things so sacred, he was not allowed to speak of them. 2 Corinthians 12:1-4. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things that are behind, and reaching forth to those things that are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Philippians 3:13-14. God on his throne is the center of all things, and from God comes the light of life. This bright white light makes the city of God appear brighter than the sun in the sky of earth. In fact, the day is coming soon when the city of God will appear in the sky of earth, and the brightness of this city will outshine the sun and the moon. For from him, and through him, and to him, are all things, to whom be glory forever. Romans 11:36. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven, and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, or dominions, or principalities, or powers, all things were created by him, and for him, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. Everything is held together. Colossians 1:16-17. Paul, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me. Acts 26:13. It would seem that being close to the throne, we would be blinded by the light. But this is not the case, because those who are allowed to come close to God on his throne are given brighter glory, and this makes it possible for them to see God. It is God himself who chooses who comes near him. Jesus brought the light of life to men, and made it possible for saints to enter heaven, and dwell in the light there. Moses said, "Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him." Numbers 16:5. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causest to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of thy holy temple. Psalm 65:4. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Ephesians 1:4. The river of life begins at the throne of God. This river is the Spirit of God flowing from the throne, through each chamber in the temple wall, then down into the fountains. This river of life then continues in 12 spirals around the temple out through the holy place to the eastern gate. From this gate of heaven the river moves as the invisible Spirit of God to bless those on earth who will accept him. And he showed me a river of the water of life, clear as crystal, coming from the throne of God and of the Lamb. Revelation 22:1. There is a river, whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. Psalm 46:4. If we walk in the light and in the Spirit on earth, we will walk in the light and in the river in heaven. The throne of God appears to rest on a large white with light oval structure about 100 miles wide, 50 miles front to back, and 25 miles high. But then again its size seems to vary greatly. It is difficult to describe. You will have to see it for yourself. In front of the throne is a large sapphire blue oval area called the Sea of Glass, and on the other side of the Sea of Glass from the throne is the Ark of God or mercy seat, and the altar of incense. The prayers of saints are called incense. Reverend 5:8. When the Apostle John was in this most holy place, he saw souls of martyrs under the altar of incense, praying God to hasten judgment upon the earth. Rev 6:9-10. The Sea of Glass before the throne is paved with blue sapphire gems. Its oval shape is about 150 by 200 miles. It is like a movable platform. It disappears when not needed and its size is adjustable. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal. Revelation 4:6. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, covenant, and there were lightnings, and voices, and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail. Revelation 11:19. At appointed times there are various methods of worship in the space below where the Sea of Glass sometimes appears. But I find it difficult to describe these things because of sacred secrets that some earth dwellers who have not seen invisible things may not understand. However, I would like to describe worship activity for you as it takes place in the large area of the most holy place before God's throne. This first worship activity is called Cup of Love. Thousands of companion saints gather into this space before the Lord on his throne, dressed in garments of very bright white light. These garments are decorated with sparkling jewels in the 5 major colors of heaven: gold, blue, purple, red and green. The saints place themselves in a round cup-like formation, like a large perfectly shaped drinking glass, very artistic and beautiful. This symbolizes a vessel of honor and cup of love to Jesus who drank the bitter cup of death for these very saints who are now expressing their love to him. Then the cup begins to turn slowly. This is the worship of love and is very delightful to God and to Jesus and to all who in this arena behold. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. Isaiah 53:11. At another time I was the only one in the great arena of space before the throne of God. The Sea of Glass was removed and I was raptured with wonder, love and praise. In my ecstasy, I was waving my arms and dancing and spinning around, and as I did so, the 5 colors of heaven were coming from the 5 fingers of each of my hands. I was not conscious of writing anything, but the trails of color remained in space as a love letter to God even after I finished my worship. That is when I learned about the 5 major colors of heaven. And his brightness was as the light, sunlight. He had horns, bright beams coming, flashing out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Habakkuk 3:4.